Hey guys, welcome back to the Military Minute. Today I'm honored to bring you the story of the Ferguson brothers and their tale of joining the Marine Corps at the height of the Vietnam War. I hope you enjoy the episode as much as we enjoyed making it, and we're honored to have Daniel Ferguson here to tell his story. Well, Daniel, thank you for joining us. Second episode of the Military Minute. We're talking to Daniel Ferguson from his experience in Vietnam as a Marine. And Daniel, thank you for being here today.
It's my honor to be here.
Well, thank you. It's our honor to have you and get your story. So, Daniel, tell us about your time in the Marine Corps. And you are a very special individual, as you and your brother enlisted together and went to boot camp together. So would you please fill us in on what got you to the point where two brothers decide to enlist during Vietnam, with a war going on, and decided to go in the Marine Corps? How did that happen?
Well, my brother was 17 months older than I was, and I graduated high school in 1967 from Wadsworth High School. And Wadsworth is the town with about 16,000 people, so it's quite small.
Yeah, big town.
Yeah, big town. Everybody knew everybody. Mm-hmm. And my brother was going to the University of Miami in Florida for marine biology. And at that time, I graduated. I got my draft notice. And my brother came home. He dropped out of school. He says he's going to join the Marine Corps. I said, I got my draft notice. I'm going to go with you.
Let's do this, yeah.
So I'm going to back up a little bit. My brother and I, growing up, we fought like cats and dogs until we were about 16, 17 years old, and we became very close. So, and I always admired him for what he's done. He's got a scuba license and stuff when he was just a teenager. He jumped out of airplanes and stuff, just crazy stuff that I'd never do.
Yeah.
So I was kind of proud of him for that. So anyhow, he comes home and announces he's going to join the Marine Corps. And I said, well, I'll go with you. Unbeknownst to me, they had a 2-year enlistment. I said, this is just perfect. I'll go for 2 years, and if I like it, I'll stay in. If not, I'll get out. So this is about August of 1967. We went to the recruiter, and before you know it, we was down at Parris Island.
Okay.
And
they let you be in the same training company? Were you different platoons or same platoon?
Same platoon.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And matter of fact, that's the funny thing. There was 4 platoons in the training regiment and stuff. In another platoon, or sister platoon, they had brothers in there. So we're in the pugil sticks thing, and the DIs are betting on
which Ferguson's going to do what.
Yeah. And
all right.
So we ended up beating those other guys and stuff.
So it was brothers, the two brothers against
the two
neat.
brothers.
Okay, yeah. You didn't have to fight your brother; you fought the other pair of brothers.
Exactly.
So Ferguson's came out on top then?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep.
All right.
So we both got PFC out of boot camp, got the same MOS, and
which was mortars, correct?
It was artillery.
Artillery, okay. Mm-hmm.
So after boot camp, we went to Camp Geiger, which is Camp Lejeune, sub base of Camp Lejeune, for our infantry training. And from there, we got to go home on leave. But Dave decided they recruited him heavy because he had schooling to go to OCS. So he went to OCS in Quantico, and he was honor man in his platoon and stuff like that. And I came home and went to Pendleton for artillery training, and from there went to Vietnam.
You went straight to Vietnam after your training. Do you have any leave between your MOS training and going to Vietnam?
No. The leave was before.
Oh, okay.
So I flew out from Ohio. I flew out to Pendleton.
Here's your MOS. Congratulations. You got a pat on the butt. You went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
All right.
And we had staging battalion before we went over. And what was ironic about the staging battalion, there's like 300 of us in these little Quonset huts. Mm-hmm. So this is first part of the 1968. And
Pre-TET or post-TET? When were you there? Pre-TET. Okay.
Pre-TET. And one night they get us up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of us are on the grinder, they call it, out in front of the Quonset huts. And you can see these officers and senior enlistment guys talking and stuff. And they go, okay, from here on down, you go with so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
He says they're going to send you guys up to Fort Lewis, Washington for cold weather training. And we're, what the heck's going on?
Are we going to Vietnam? What do we need cold weather training for?
That's when the Pueblo was taken. You remember that at all? The Pueblo was a spy ship.
Oh, okay.
And it went into the Korean waters, North Korean waters, and the North Koreans took it hostage.
Oh, wow.
So they going to send a bunch of guys over there. And about that time, I think it was a 7-day war going on between Egypt and Israel. So we didn't know where we were going to go. So, but anyhow, flew over to Okinawa, got some more shots and stuff, and went on to Vietnam. And I was lucky enough to go to Khe Sanh.
Okay.
And
way up north?
Way up north. And nobody told us anything. Well, I mean, we were just in the dark about anything. Other than we catch guys coming back and hear their utilities all scrubbed up and stuff, and we kept asking, well, what about this Khe Sanh? You don't want to go there. So Khe Sanh was getting hit so bad that the helicopters wouldn't even land. So they kicked us off about 10 feet up in the air. Seed bag went one way, helmet the other, rifle went the other way. Get up, you look around, the chopper's gone. Wow. And you hear this, get your ass over here. And I can't see anybody. He's in a trench, and all he can see is about this much. Yeah. And it was an Air Force technical sergeant or something. He was in charge of the landing zone, or the landing strip. Yeah, so we go over there, and they get a runner to take us to where we're supposed to go. And this is February 25th. It's a very important date. The Marines did not patrol outside the wire. The Vietnamese were coming up to the wire and stuff. So on the 25th, Bravo Company went, the 26th Marines was going to go out and look for mortar pits that was just nailing us. So they get outside the wire and they see these Vietnamese take off running. So they broke ranks and the Marines chased them right into a huge ambush, and there was so many killed. And I didn't know this till later on. Yeah. But the siege started January 21st. So I was there about a month afterwards. Right. And when I landed, it was just a landscape. Everything was just below ground. And I was assigned to a 4-deuce mortar, which I had no clue. I was trained at Pendleton on a 105 howitzer. We didn't even know what a 4-deuce mortar was, so it's on-the-job training. Yeah. And I got lucky enough to get with a good gun crew. Okay. And they took me under their wing, and
was there animosity between the old timers and being a new boot, or did they really take you under and treat you well and teach you?
It depends. Okay. It depends who that individual was.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of the guys that have been in country a while don't look at a new guy because they haven't put their time in.
You got to prove yourself.
Right. You haven't proved yourself, and you're fresh. Yeah. So I guess just depended on the individual for you on how they treated you and what they taught you. Okay.
Corporal Art Cadillo, God bless his soul, he just died about a year ago, and he took me under his wing and stuff, and they just lost the section chief. When you're in a mortar outfit or artillery outfit, you're supposed to be commanded by a staff sergeant, and we were being by lance corporals was the section chief and stuff like that, because a lot of guys died, got wounded and stuff like that. So Oh, got a funny situation. We were firing World War II ammunition.
Yeah.
We were eating sea rations. We couldn't have any hot chow because everything's blown up. And we didn't have water. Our water point was outside the wire.
Yeah.
So we had to be very careful with that.
I have almost the same kind of stories from Iraq. A lot of as engineers, we had cratering charges that were from World War II, had 1944 on them. We were hit so much that they'd shut down all the convoys, same way our water station was outside the wire, so we didn't have fresh water. We were living on bottled water and just MREs.
Yeah.
And it's funny with the time difference, but you can have similar situations within the military, Army or Marine.
Yeah, if you wanted a shower, you just waited for the monsoons to hit.
Right.
And you go outside and butt naked.
Yeah, you weren't shy back then.
No, not at all. One interesting part was we were shooting World War II stuff. We were shooting Willie Peter, white phosphorus to mark targets and stuff. One day, we dropped it down the tube and it goes tonk. And right to our front was FOB-3. It was a forward observation base for the Green Beret. And after that happened, we didn't think anything about it. And a little while later, the access road runs between our outfit and the wire. And we see this Jeep come flying down there, just the flying stuff. And they pull up to our gun, slam on the brakes and stuff. And I swear to God, it was a full bird colonel and their starched utilities and the sergeant major. He had a swagger stick.
Jeez.
He gets out, walks around to the back of their Jeep, picks up this dud Willie Peter round, and he's coming at us with it. We scattered.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know where our command post was for the colonel to go over.
Pointed about as fast as you could. It was over there.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And the rockets were just, we got hit 1,400 rounds in a 24-hour period.
Wow.
It was just, your number was going to be up because you're going to get hit. And I was very fortunate that I didn't get hit.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to relieve us. That's when the, I think it was the 101st came in on the helicopters.
Usually the Marines need the Army to, to relieve them. So,
yeah. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So anyhow, our gun was down. They sent it to Da Nang to get fixed. So they didn't have enough for us to do, so they sent me up the hill, 860. And I went up there, and the same thing. The helicopters are motor magnets, and you jump out, and because here comes the mortars, and I hit the first hooch that I could find. And it was
because now you're seasoned, you know the drill. You know to get out and get out of the way.
But these guys aren't our outfit, but I'd never met them before because they had the mortars up on the hills. So I go flying in there and stuff, and the first thing is, "Hey, where are you from?" And all this stuff. And I said, "Well, I'm from Ohio." And they said, "Oh, whereabouts?" And I said, "Well, Akron. That's the closest big town."
Big city. Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, Andrus, this guy's from says he's from Akron." And he says, "Well, I'm from Barberton." The Andrus did. And I said, "Well, hell, I'm from Wadsworth." We street raced against each other.
Wow.
This is a small world. Yeah.
Jeez.
He had a GTO and I had my 57 Chevy. So shortly after that, we convoyed out and ended up in Kalu. And from there on, we just skipped all over, south of Da Nang, north of Da Nang, ended up in Hai Van Pass, Phu Loc. Phu Loc was another disaster for us. We had this Mama San and Papa San. The Papa San was a barber. So we'd go outside the wire and they'd cut our hair for us and stuff, and the Mama San washed our utilities and stuff. This is right after they split our guns up. Went from Phu Loc, we went up to Hai Van Pass. And the next day, the enemy saw that our ranks were real low. They came in with sand pans with mortars on them. And they just walked the mortars right in on our guys and stuff. And 18 of my buddies was killed.
Jeez.
And in the death and destruction, they found the mama son and the papa son. They're sappers, and they're coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and we were very fortunate to
survive that.
To survive that. So I'm up at High Van Pass, and it's right on Highway 1, and we can look right into Da Nang Harbor. And so we were there for, I don't know, maybe a month or something, and we had a lieutenant that he didn't come out of his hooch too much and stuff. So,
stayed under the sandbag.
So we stayed away from him and stuff, and one evening he goes, Ferguson, get your ass over here. So I go over and I knock on his hooch and I walk in, and here's Dave standing there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, totally. You know, I knew he's in Vietnam, but I didn't, and he was with 3rd Recon, but I didn't know, you know. And he stayed with us a couple days. We were shooting H&Is all night long, and he stayed right with us, cutting charges and everything.
Oh, wow.
And the guys are calling him sir, and he said, "Don't call me sir. I'm here as a friend."
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that was the first time you ran into him in country, and talk to me about the second time you ran into him.
Well, the second time, what happened was they're going to take our guns and put them on a float. And a float is a reactionary force that's out there in the water, and they can more or less do their landings and everything else. And so I had, it's getting short timer, so they sent me to Alpha 113, which is a 105 barracks just north of Da Nang. It's pretty laid back. And Dave came and unannounced again and stuff, so we talked, and he says, "You going home?" I said, "No, this is nice.
Yeah.
We play volleyball and drink beer.
Right.
I mean, this is like a beach
I
party."
can do this a little longer.
Yeah. I said, "I only got about 2 more months. You know, you go home. You're recon. You're snooping and pooping out there, and you're getting your ass shot off, and I'm drinking beer and playing volleyball." So, but anyhow, he pulled rank on me and stuff and says, "You go on home." Unlike the Army, the Marine Corps' obligation is 13 months overseas. Their deployment is 13 months compared to a year. So I'm coming up on a year. So he says, "You go on home." So I do. And they put me on Okinawa to finish out that last month and stick me in the mailroom. And it was my time to rotate home is coming up, but I keep getting bumped for emergency leaves and stuff. So I was there for like 2 more weeks than what I was supposed to be.
In Vietnam?
In Okinawa.
Oh, in Okinawa.
Yeah, on Okinawa. And one night or one morning, it's a Sunday morning, they came and got me, and they said, "The captain wants to see you." And the captain's just in charge of the transit barracks and stuff. And he says, "You got a brother who's a lieutenant in the Marine Corps?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "He's killed." And that's the way he just put it out. And I'm going, "Well, I want to go back and get him, bring him home." And they wouldn't let me. He says, "We're not going to do that." And since that time, I've talked to so many Marines, and they says, they would have made it possible for me to do that. But there's just that one thing.
Right.
So I said, "Well, I want to get home as soon as I can." And boy, they just rushed me right off. And I came on home and flew into Cleveland, Ohio, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, and here's my folks, my 2 sisters, my brother, the younger brother, and a couple of my high school buddies.
Had David made it back prior to you getting home? And were you there for the funeral, or had the funeral already happened?
He wasn't home yet.
Okay.
And was probably a couple of days later that he was brought home.
Okay.
And the family got to do some private viewing and stuff. And that was a big shock and stuff. And the funeral was in the little cemetery there in Wadsworth, and there was. My dad built houses in a small town, and stuff. Everybody knew the Fergusons, so we had a pretty good turnout for Dave's funeral.
Great. Yeah.
And so after that, my time was up and leave. So I was stationed at Camp Lejeune.
Okay.
Drank the water down there.
Well, you're still here at least, so that's good. Yeah.
So I was in the artillery there, and all we had to do was just go out to the gun yard, pull them out of the garage, take the tarp off, wipe it down, push it in, and you're done for the day.
Oh, wow.
Of course, we didn't have any money to go do anything anyhow. After that, I said, they're doing a mass promotion for corporal. Then I find out I was a corporal when I was in Vietnam, and the pay and everything else didn't catch up until I was at Camp Lejeune.
Well, they did back pay you though?
They did.
Oh, good. Okay. Uncle Sam didn't get you at a discounted rate for a while.
No. So anyhow, they're doing the Marine Corps is cutting back on people. So they're giving guys early outs and things for schooling. And so they sent me up to Quantico, and I was on the chow line serving the cadets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so
I
was there when, the same place where my brother came through and stuff.
Neat.
So, yeah.
Kind of brought it full circle for you again.
Yeah. So the family we just didn't really want to know, I guess, until quite a few years later. We were home and get a phone call from my son. He says, "Dad, you got to talk to this lady from Florida. And she knows all about Dave and stuff." So I called her up. Her name was Mrs. DeWild. And she lost her stepson on the patrol that Dave was killed on. And she hooked me up with a gentleman by the name of Steve Lowry. Steve was a corporal, and he was running the patrol. He was the patrol leader. And I find out that Dave was an extra gun, because at that time, the guys were wounded, they're on R&R, they're schooling and stuff like that, so they needed extra people for this one particular patrol. So they had 10 Marines and 2 Navy corpsmen. And they went into this old fire base called Argonne, and it was an old 155. So the area that they had to defend was huge. With for
12 guys.
For 12 guys. And the second night they were there, they got overrun. Dave was shot almost immediately. And
what was the casualty for the 12 men? How many were killed, wounded out of the 12?
3.
3 killed?
3 killed. I got a list of the guys that were there. Steve Lowry was a corporal in Neve 4, and he was the patrol leader. Then they have Peter DeWild. He was a PFC, I believe, and he was the, what they call that? They sent a guy out, listening post.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your LP.
Yep. They sent him out for a listening post, and he was one that was killed almost immediately also. Then they had Doc Turner, was a Navy corpsman. Well, Doc Turner, he stayed in the Navy. Then he went to Naval Reserves, and he was with Marine outfit his whole time. And he got out of the Navy as a command master chief.
Wow.
And he's getting ready to retire and stuff, and he didn't know whether Navy whites or Marine greens. So that was kind of interesting too.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lives over in Utah.
Okay. You still talk to him periodically?
At the reunions.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. And the one I really want to mention is Robert Jenkins Jr. Robert was a black kid from someplace out in the boondocks, Florida. And he saved Freddie Olstrom's life. Freddie was a machine gunner, and Robert was an assistant gunner. And the grenades started coming in and stuff, and Freddie got shot through both shoulders and both legs and stuff, so he was almost couldn't move.
Yeah.
So the Chi-Coms are coming in, communist grenades, and Robert jumped on him, on Freddie, and took the blast, was killed.
Wow.
And Robert was awarded the Medal of Honor. And sad situation about that was Freddie, after so many years, finally went down to Florida, and he met the family, and they took him in just like one of the family.
That's great.
So he wanted to see the gravesite of this Medal of Honor recipient. So they took him out to the black cemetery, and
still segregated, just black cemetery, and
they will not allow blacks to be buried in a white cemetery to this day. I don't understand it. Here's a national hero. So Freddie sees how deplorable this cemetery is. So he gets a hold of VFW and the American Legion and senators or whatever, and they cleaned the whole cemetery up.
Good for him.
It got proper headstone. And since then, his mom, Willie Mae Jenkins, was got to be buried right next to her son and stuff.
Wow.
And that was pretty cool. My sister and I went down for that, and that was just a couple years ago. And the town named their junior high after Robert. Then they named the post office after Robert and stuff, and they have scholarships named after Robert.
Great.
So that's pretty cool.
Keeping his legacy alive.
Yep.
Great.
And Joyce and I got to go down to one of the third Recon reunions, and we got to meet just about all the guys that.
Wow, the surviving members of the patrol.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're associate members now, and I try to get to one of them, the Khe Sanh reunion or the third Recon.
So let's segue into David. So David completes boot camp, and then where does David go after boot camp?
We go to Camp Geiger.
Okay.
For ITR, Infantry Training Regiment. So shortly after that, he signed up to go to OCS. I don't know what the dates were, but it was right after Camp Geiger.
Okay, after your infantry
and
training.
I get a leave after that.
Right.
So I come on home, and we surprised my folks. He had his girlfriend pick me up at the airport and bring me home. Yeah. And
did David discuss with you that he was going into OCS, or was it just kind of he decided and he went?
More or less, yes.
Okay. That seems kind of his personality, jumping out of planes and scuba diving and everything when he's a teenager, that if he was going to go do it, he was going to go do it all the way.
And he signed up as a reserve officer instead of being a lifer, so to speak. And
was he recruited in OCS to become Recon? Or does that happen after he completed OCS?
No, that was his choosing to go Recon.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I find out later after reading all these stuff, and when the new guys get over there, it's like a corporal sitting there, a clerk, and he goes, "Okay, you're going to Recon. You're going here, you know, and stuff." They didn't even worry about MOSs, you know. They just needed a warm body. And
And so your brother got his jump wings and his scuba bubble.
He got the bubble in the, that's one of the schoolings. He went to Subic Bay, Philippines. And the couple of these third Recon reunions we've been to, you know, they couldn't say enough about Dave. He was just, you know,
one of those guys.
One of those guys that, you know.
And how long was he in country from the time he got in country till when he was killed? 69.
It was March 5th of 69.
March 5th of 69. Okay.
And he got in country, I believe it was around August.
Okay. So you were in country and he got in August. How in the hell did he find you? And how long had he been in country before he did?
I was at High Van Pass, so that was in August, I believe. So he was over there a couple months before that. We corresponded. I don't know about the Army, but the Marine Corps is the officers spend time out in the field, in the bush, and after so many patrols or whatever, they send them to the rear, and their intelligence or, you know, supply or whatever. So that's how he found me.
He found you that way.
Yeah, I guess it was quite simple.
And he never let you know in a letter, hey, I'm coming over, just surprise you, and here I am. Okay.
Yep. The last time we were just north of Da Nang there, we hitchhiked into Da Nang. There's a big PX there, and we went in there and got cheeseburgers and stuff. It was just like Costco, you know, it was incredible. So we argued back and forth about who's going to go home and stuff. So then the last thing I saw was he hitchhiked a ride back to his unit. So, yeah.
And now, so we have the couple of pictures of him prepping for his mission, for that 12-man patrol. We've got the picture of him on the launch pad and prepping his gear and standing there. From what you know from the other Marines that were there, how long? It was about 2 days from when they left to the big attack. How long were they supposed to be there? What was their mission?
I have no idea.
Goal? Okay.
This is the craziest thing I ever heard of. To my knowledge, this Fabrication Argonne is on the Laos border, where the Ho Chi Minh Trail is and stuff. There was a Marine unit that went through there, I believe it was about 2 weeks before they sent these Marines in there, and they got the crap kicked out of them. And
how many Marines were we talking about in the previous 2 weeks?
There was a battalion.
Oh, wow.
They got this. So to me, the powers to be know that
this is a bad area.
Because they just got their battalion.
Yeah.
Got their ass kicked, and so why would you send 12 guys into this indefensible place when you know that the enemy's right there?
Now, talking to you a little bit, they tried to improve what they could for about 2 days between coming in and the Vietnamese knowing that they were there, and then between the attack. 2 days with 12 guys is not a whole lot of time to improve a beat-down position.
No.
Now, from your understanding of the firefight, how did they extract the survivors?
Well, Lowry called in artillery.
Okay, and that was the only way that they could make a dent and survive, was using artillery.
Yep. Then the gunships came in and helped them. And Lowry himself was wounded really bad, but he would not leave his position as platoon of patrol leader until everybody was on the choppers and stuff. And he received the Navy Cross on that. Wow. Yeah. Well deserved.
Well, we're honored to have your uniform and your brother's uniform here at the museum.
I want to get this in. I didn't know what to do with the uniforms, and I didn't want to give them to Gates resale.
No.
So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this uniforms taken care of. The family wanted some of the stuff, and they got it. My son has Dave's sword, his officer's sword. And so I asked Wendell, your friend Wendell. I said,
Good old Wendell.
Yep. And oh my God, I've known Wendell for 15 years. Practical jokes we played on this. But anyhow, he said, yeah, I know who. And I called you up. And yeah, I'll have it. And you've just done a remarkable job, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
I'm so happy that we ran into each other.
This was great. Had you come out, and unfortunately it took me about a year to get all the documentation, everything I needed together. But I'm just beyond pleased at the reception it's gotten. You've brought all the pictures and documentation, and I've done a lot of different things, both in the military and after, but holding that original telegram that your parents got. You've seen it on We Were Soldiers, the movie where the spouses get it, the wives get it, the taxi driver delivers it. And it's one thing to see it. It is something else to hold the original. It really is.
But the Marines always send a Marine officer of equal rank, and with the chaplain.
I did one death notification for a soldier in Paradise, and the tasking came down, and my dad was at drill, and nobody wanted to touch it. Of course, nobody had the balls to go and tell a family. So my dad called me and said, it's Sunday. This just came through. The kid was killed in Iraq. His name's Stephen Wahlberg Riato. His family was up in Paradise. And I said, Dad, I was just an E4. I said, Dad, if you can't get anybody, I'll go with you. Dad couldn't get anybody. Everybody just bailed, like cockroaches with the lights coming on. So Dad comes down. We link up with a chaplain. I get in my uniform. We drive up to Paradise, and we get out, and we have to tell this family that their son had died. And Dad and I went to the funeral. Another one of my guys from Iraq was the family liaison, Kevin Ward. Ran into him. We told some stories, did all that. And so I absolutely know what it's like to go tell a family. And it was, probably one of the very honored to be a part of it, but just couldn't imagine being on the receiving end of people walking up and telling you your son or daughter's been killed.
Yeah.
And I know there's many people who are going to see this that are going to absolutely know what it's like. And getting that bad news is just, you're never prepared for it.
It's one of the things I'll take to my grave that we done this to my mom, both of us being over there. When they came to the door, Mom, the first thing out of her mouth was, which one?
Yeah.
You're all gung-ho to go and stuff like that, but
you're invincible at 19.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had the same thing with your mom, your dad, and you.
I got back from Iraq, and Dad left about a month later for Kuwait, and we didn't see each other for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Dad ended up spending most of his time in Kuwait. He made it up to Iraq to a couple of the bases I was at for some logistical stuff, and then, Mom's got more than a few gray hairs worried about her husband and her son. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, but getting back to the uniforms here, you've done a remarkable job, and I look at mine here and I go, wow, that's so cool. I should have stayed in.
Well, I had to put corporal on it. We'd never changed it, and so it's been great. We're gonna keep improving and making it better. We're honored to have it, and honored to have yours, and be a preserver of David's memory and of yours. And I can't thank you enough for sitting down and doing this with us. And we look forward to future events and getting together with you for more stories.
Oh, big time.
So thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. What's your fondest memory of David? Either in the service or before. You got a specific moment in time that's just
one of my fondest memories. That my dad was in the Navy, and Dave had his old hammock, and he climbed this maple tree without any ropes or anything, and he hooked up his hammock, and he stayed up there for a couple of days. And I'm going, this guy's nuts. Yeah.